Carpe diem, seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome to Carpe Diem. On this episode, we're talking about lessons we learned this past year. And we'll be returning to places that make our time on Earth extra special and give us hope for the year to come. The passing of another year might be a heavy reality, but it's also an opportunity to celebrate our success, to remember that we took every minute and made it count, like BJ McHugh does every day.
Well, here's a couple of medals here, finishers. I think they're both from Honolulu. And I don't know what this one is.
BJ McHugh is a marathon runner. She started at 55 and promptly started breaking world records, including her last one when she was 90.
I have a daughter that's an Olympic swimmer, and it was twice a day, every day. So I got sort of bored with the whole thing. So then I thought, well, I'll just run along the seawall or walk. I started walking, and then I thought, this is so slow. So then I started running, and then I just got hooked on it.
She started running at maybe 55. There was an organized 5K, I think it was, and she realized that she could run. And then 5K turned to 10, and then one day somebody suggested a marathon.
I used to meet a lot of people on the trail, and some of the women said, you know, we're not runners, but we think of you, and we get out in the morning, get up here and do this. That's my running group, yeah.
So you're going to teach me a couple of tricks. So lunge.
Feet together and then the other foot.
And you were saying stomach in. She's doing it with weights, not me.
This is a record I won in Honolulu. I set a world record for my age group.
If you look it up, McHugh, there's year after year after year. The age group categories, she holds them all. And these are world categories.
I had a neighbor here who used to see me. I used to crawl out, we have a hedge there, and I'd crawl out so he wouldn't see me because he used to say, there she goes, wasting all her energy. And after a while, he learned that I wasn't. I said, no, Ted, I'm not wasting it, I'm building it.
Good health is key to quality of life, and we know exercise and nutrition are a huge part of that. We know that we are what we eat, right? Chef Robert Clark is an Order of Canada recipient for his work on sustainability, so he knows a thing or two about the health of our bodies and planet. Welcome to Steveston. We're on the dock. As you can see, we got a barbecue and we've got Chef Robert Clark, and it doesn't surprise me in the least that we have seafood out here.
Not just seafood, but local, sustainable, ocean-wise BC seafood. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a little halibut dish. I'm just laying a little bit of leeks on the bottom just to give it a base and keep the fish up off the paper. But a little bit of salt. We got, you see how shiny, how firm it is. Tarragon and orange, I like those flavors together. And I have to use onions of some caliber. Shallots, garlic, or onions.
And a little splash of BC wine,
A little bit of BC wine.
So now that just goes in there? And
yeah, so we're just gonna throw that and we're gonna basically steam it in the butter and white wine and its own juices. Just gonna cook that in the barbecue for, we'll see, maybe, it depends on how hot the barbecue is. It's very experimental today, maybe 6, 8 minutes, 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, my gosh.
Look at, feel that, eh? Like
and the scent.
Is that not wonderful? We should probably just forget veg. We should probably just eat this now. We're gonna let it rest. We're gonna let it rest.
Okay.
So that's slightly undercooked. And as it sits there, it's gonna slowly cool down a bit, but it's gonna finish its cooking, so it should be moist.
And absorb all that jus.
And the flavors and stuff.
Yum.
My overall goal is to encourage British Columbians to enjoy British Columbian seafood and to embrace your producers, because they are the cornerstone of our future as far as food sovereignty is concerned. We have to support the people that produce our food, whether it's a carrot or whether it's a lingcod.
And that's why I wanted to come and see you, because I really believe in what you're doing and I want to support you, and I just want to come and eat.
Yeah.
So you keep talking.
Let's be real.
I love them.
Sorry I didn't bring more than 2 forks.
I love, no. Seafood and all the nutrients found in that delicious gift from the ocean can give us so many benefits. Remember to shop local and insist on sustainable products. When we come back, we visit with Dr. Bell for more tips on how to live our best life.
So I realized that drugs are fine, but they're not the ultimate answer. So I wanted a cure that I could empower people with some tools they could take charge of their health.
CARPe diem. Seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome back. If you're one of our regular viewers, you'll recognize Dr. Bell. She's an amazing MD who's dedicated her practice to healing the mind, body, and spirit. Medicine for the whole body. Let's review some of her key messages. Dr. Power, welcome.
Thank you. So great to be here with you again.
And you're the author of, well, a very well dog-eared book that I love, Mind, Body, Cure. Tell me what motivated you to write this book.
Well, Carmen, this is a passion project. It's a culmination of 30 years of my clinical practice. And before that, I was a pharmacist. I dispensed drugs. As a doctor, I wrote prescriptions for drugs. And as a patient, after a horrific car accident, I had to take a lot of drugs. So I realized that drugs are fine, but they're not the ultimate answer. So I wanted a cure that I could empower people with some tools they could take charge of their health. And that's what prompted me to get the message out of my head and onto paper so I could give people tools to look at their own mental health and fix their anxiety and have optimal health for themselves.
Yeah. I mean, I'm reading this and it's in the first person and it's really a testimonial to, well, mind, body, cure, but it's like mind over matter in a way.
Yes, and also learn about your physical body symptoms and how they relate to your mental health. Your emotional state equals your physical state. And people don't make that connection. So that's why I wanted their mind and their body. It's seamless. It's all one. Body, mind, mind, body. And so you have to treat the person as a whole.
So we know COVID, of course, has been a terrible trauma on most of us. I mean, the whole world is suffering it. Right. Has that really been such a strong callous for the demise of our mental health?
I think it was always there. I mean, stress is always there. It's so pervasive, Carmen. But I think that with COVID, it just raised it to a whole new level. And people realize how important it is to have social connections, to be out in nature, to be able to have the freedom to go out. And so all those restrictions in place have escalated the level of anxiety, the level of fearfulness, the uncertainty, and then the financial consequences of COVID as well compounded the problem.
Now, let's say someone's watching and they have a loved one that they're like, you know, I don't know what's going on. What are the symptoms? What should we be looking out for in other people or in ourselves to say, you know what, I need help?
Well, there are certain signs that we should watch for. If someone has suddenly socially withdrawn, they're not coming out, they're not answering your phones or your texts, and they're just being very socially withdrawn, that's a distress signal. If they've had attempts at suicide, that's a huge cry for help. If you see them abusing alcohol or doing a lot of what we call stress eating, stress-soothing behaviors that are not healthy, those are some signs. And some people have a very good facade, and you can't tell that inside they're very depressed. And that's the most dangerous ones. So I think that it's really important for healthcare to go back and fix what's broken, fix the stress perception, the perception of what's causing anxiety. And we can't fix the external. It's an inside job. Health is an inside job. We got to go within.
That's good. One of Dr. Bell's key messages is mindfulness. So when we come back, we'll dive deeper and learn about the ancient Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku.
If we enter the forest, you hear the sound. Air is different. If you touch tree, you can feel like some kind of energy.
Welcome back. These past 2 years saw most of us staying close to home. We have been reintroduced to our own backyard, but how do we take that walk in the forest one step further?
Yeah, look at that on the top. After the cancer, I had all kinds of problems because of the chemotherapy. It was so difficult, my disease. I mean, like breast cancer, and then I had to do the chemotherapy. Chemotherapy was so difficult for me. I thought, I'm gonna die. I better to die. My husband and I was walking, and the walking is very good, healing itself. But then we found forest.
Well, it always made her feel better being in nature where you could forget about your worries being out in the forest. And Yayo's always found interesting things to see in the forest that I would never see. It's sort of a spiritual journey for her being in the forest.
Shinrin-yoku, we say, forest bathing. If we enter the forest, you hear the sound. I mean, right now, you can hear the birds. Air is different. If you touch tree, you can feel like some kind of energy. Gives me some kind of a healing.
All of these trees have a chemical compound that they use to fight disease and fight other things. Well, we are basically breathing in and bathing. It's like when you go to the beach and you get the ions from the water, right? You feel great at the beach. Well, there's a chemical reason for that. It's not just the scenery. Chronic disease and mental health, the costs of those in Canada now outpace economic growth. I thought, what if our medical system was not built based on illness and treating illness, it was based on wellness. We started to do Healthy by Nature events, and we met Dr. Melissa Lem, who's a physician.
I have a really long history of advocating for the nature and health connection, and when I moved to British Columbia in 2016, a couple years later, I connected with the BC Parks Foundation, who was actually looking to launch a nature prescription program, so it was like a match made in heaven. PARX is Canada's first national evidence-based nature prescription program, where any licensed healthcare professional across Canada can register to prescribe nature.
I had so many difficulties, and I might be dead. But whenever we come here, I mean forest saved my life.
One of my favorite activities is walking, and now I do it with more purpose. We're so lucky here in BC to have accessible outdoor spaces where we can let nature help us heal. But sometimes we just want to jump on a plane and see another part of the world. I never tire of remembering my journeys to Europe, so let's take a trip back to Mykonos. We're on Mykonos Island. As you can see, it's fabulous down here in the harbor, but we're also going to go explore the countryside. This has been a haven for royals in the 30s, the jet set in the 50s, and today we're going to go exploring.
This is the only remaining traditional coffee shop in Mykonos town. Coffee shop in Greek is kafenio, but it's not only a place where you get coffee and sweets. It's a place where you have ouzo or wine with little bits and pieces, like the Spanish tapas, but we call it meze. We're going to go and try the most traditional meze that we have on this island with ouzo. This is snails from
Αυτό έτρωγε ο Απόλλων και έκανε καλά παιδιά.
He says this is what Apollo, the god of light, who was born on Delos 8, and that's why he had good kids.
You think that's funny, eh? You see what happens when you get into the locals? You learn all kinds of things. And you know, that was delicious.
The town used to be within a fortress, so they never built according to some plan.
We're heading to a boutique that apparently is one of the first to serve the jet set on this island.
Oh, my grandfather came in Mykonos in 1935. After 1950, he started making clothes for all the jet set of the Athenians and the Greeks. And then for Christian Dior, for Dessay, for Gila Rose, Soraya.
We may have to take this one home.
I know, of course. Get ready.
We made it. One more time. Hey, Papa, I'm so happy.
So as we're driving in the countryside, our nose made us stop because we smell food, and we learned that this is a family tradition that they do once a year for Saints' Day. And here is the kitchen where all the traditional ladies, all the village ladies, are cooking the meal that they will give to anybody that passes by. Oh, look at this. No, it's perfect. I'm loving Greece. Oh my God. Look at that. Where's he going with the bread?
Oh my gosh, I can't
Oh. Oh. Where do I go? That way? To you? Thank you.
The service will be done in the afternoon. The priests are called in by the family. They're preparing the chapel for the service, and then after the service is when the feast will come. The idea is that you start your Saints' Day, which is tomorrow, in a happy way. That's why it's done on the eve of the Saints' Day.
I wish I was longer in Mykonos because I would be right here tonight with a big plate of homemade food, fabulous breads, and I'm sure a whole bunch of new friends, because that's what Greece is about, really. I'm heading back as soon as it's safe, and I'm sure many small towns are going to welcome us in our wallets with open arms. When we return, we'll catch up with Bill Van Gorder from CARPe and get a year-end progress report.
And then we're going to make sure that care is equitable right across the province and right across the country.
CARPe diem. Seizing the day for Canadians as we age.
Welcome back. Many of you are CARPe members, and your fan mail tells me just how important that organization is to you, especially as we age. CARPe works tirelessly on our behalf, so I thought we should invite Bill Van Gorder to give us an update. Hola, Bill.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, and thank you for joining us today. I really wanted to talk with you about what CARPe has done in 2021. Give us your hit list.
Well, we've had a good year. Our membership has increased. We're now over 330,000 members across the country. We've had good uptake on our promotion and our advocacy around flu and flu vaccines being available. And some provinces have already begun to offer the high-dose flu vaccine at no cost. We've been able to talk to the federal government about what we're doing and what they're doing in terms of long-term care and home care. And we've been able to finally get some attraction to an area that's very important to many of us, and that's the mental health of seniors.
There's so much to unpack in your campaigns. So quickly, tell us what your plans are for 2022.
Well, in 2022, we want to make sure the government does revitalize home care and long-term care. And then we're going to make sure that care is equitable right across the province and right across the country. We're also going to be championing fitness for older adults. We want people to keep themselves fit. So if we look after those three areas, people's health, their own fitness, and their financial ability to do what they need to do, we can make sure that older Canadians have a better life in 2022.
Thank you so much, Bill.
Thanks, Carmen.
As we close this episode, I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. If it wasn't for you, none of this would be possible. My sincere thanks, and I want to tell you that I know it's hard to keep up our spirit some days, but there's many challenges still ahead. Please remember that we're here to help. On behalf of all of us, Happy New Year, amigos, and see you in 2022. And remember, as our CARPe president, Moses Neimer, always says, the best way to keep going is to keep going. So carpe diem and seize your day.